And Trump wins once again. Another W, right? It's a whole lot of W's coming in right now. I don't know what Democrats are gonna do. I'm starting to feel a little bad for them with all the L's they're taking. I mean, my goodness gracious. We're gonna be diving into that with Mark Carney, who is the Prime Minister of old Canada, the globalist Mark Carney. Because, once again, like I said, Trump took a W. Even after mainstream media, of course, MSDNC, tried to clown him live on television. Let's dive in.
It is Friday, and Wall Street is craving tacos tonight. Or at least more of Trump always chickens out. Because while the president was doubling down on his July 9th trade deal deadline, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was teasing a Labor Day extension, although Canada should not expect one. Canada, our closest friend, our closest ally, our neighbor up north. The president ended trade talks with our neighbors over a tax on U.S. tech companies and said that a new tariff on Canada would be announced within the next week. On that news, the stock market turned negative, but ultimately rebounded, closing at a record high. The nightcap is still here, Heidi. Let's start with Canada. Which Trump are they supposed to believe here? Will he actually come up with a new tariff rate for them when he's basically kicked every other deadline down?
Notice how she skimmed over how the markets hit yet another record high.
On the road?
Yeah, I think that their new prime minister, Carney, he's got his number. He knows he's not reliable. He says, let's just try and deal with European nations. Let's deal across the world. Then not cut the United States out, because that would be extraordinarily difficult, but to just not rely on the United States. And I think, a billionaire recently said it, that we are a brand, the United States, the predictability of the United States, the friendship of the United States. And he basically erodes away that goodwill every day. But I don't think this is unexpected in Canada. I think they've seen this before, and I think they're going to do their own little workaround. And at the end of the day, you know and I know that if you take energy out, we have a positive trade relationship with Canada. And if you put services in, we're winning with Canada, but the president will never acknowledge that.
Do you think it's personal for President Trump and Canada? Because Mark Carney is so well liked by the business community, because he is Harvard educated. He's all the things that President Trump isn't. And when they met at the White House, Mark Carney was playing no games, didn't bend the knee. And when the president said, maybe we'll make Canada another state, he said, no, we absolutely will never do that. So do you think the president is trying to stick it to him, Heidi?
Well, I think absolutely he is. If you go back, yes, and you take, Stephanie, if you look at why Carney got elected, because the Liberals were basically going to be obliterated in this election. Carney got elected because Trump put Canadian sovereignty on the ballot, and Carney cannot politically risk, blinking as it relates to Donald Trump. And so Carney was created by Donald Trump, and now he's his worst nightmare, because he's got the chops, the economic chops, to actually do what he says he's going to do, which is divest in a big way away from the United States.
He's got Trump's number. He's got his number. Yeah, all right. Okay. All right. Interesting. They were also talking about on CNN that Mark Carney, or on the news, that Mark Carney was a master negotiator, okay? He has Trump's number, and I want to play this other clip for you guys because it's quite interesting.
President Trump tends to be A, transactional, and B, very personal. And sometimes he thinks, or maybe you know differently. Apparently
I don't think.
They say that you're the Trump whisperer of the leaders.
I'm not
and
sure
that you're
about
on
that,
texting, relations with him, and you're constantly talking. So Is he still saying he wants to annex Canada?
He's not. He's not. He admires Canada, I think it's fair to say, and maybe for a period of time coveted Canada. But
you've put that to bed.
Well, look, we're two sovereign nations who are discussing the future of our trade relationships, our defense partnership, which has been very strong in the past. How is that going to evolve? But again, I would say it this way: the president is focused on a series of changing bilateral relations. We're at NATO. He's been focused on making sure that all members, Canada included, of NATO pay their fair share, carry their weight. I think we are now doing that.
So Trump convinced everybody to pay their fair share, huh? Okay. Master negotiator, Trump whisperer. All right. Quite interesting. Remember he used to talk trash about Trump?
U.S. President Donald Trump claims that he totally changed you and your party's fortunes. Is he interfering in our election? Does this mean that a meeting with Trump or a phone call is off the table?
Canadians are going to decide who their next government is going to be. I trust Canadians to make those decisions. We'll have, I'm sure, a robust election campaign, and Canadians will make the choice. No foreign leader is going to determine who's best. One of the factors is going to be, in my judgment, who is going to be best for Canada in the negotiations with the Americans, which will come, but they're, from my perspective, they're not going to come until we get the respect we deserve as a sovereign nation. By the way, this is not a high bar. This is not a high bar to say we will sit down as a sovereign nation and have this negotiation.
So even after all of the trash talking, not only from Mark Carney himself, but also from mainstream media, you know the result? Yeah, another Trump W, of course.
Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America. And President Trump knows how to negotiate, and he knows that he is governing the best country and the best economy in this world, on this planet. And every country on the planet needs to have good trade relationships with the United States. And it was a mistake for Canada to vow to implement that tax. That would have hurt our tech companies here in the United States. The president made his position quite clear to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister called the president last night to let the president know that he would be dropping that tax, which is a big victory for our tech companies and our American workers here at home.
Interesting. I thought Mark Carney was the Trump whisperer. The master negotiator. I thought he had Trump's number.
A good conversation with President Trump, and we agreed to recommence our negotiations with a view to the 21st of July deadline that we had agreed in. Kananaskis, Ministers Champagne and LeBlanc had conversations with their counterparts as well. We've restarted the discussions this morning.
Is there anything in exchange for?
We have, to be clear, it's part of a bigger negotiation. It's something that we expected in the broader sense that would be part of a final deal. We're making progress towards a final deal. There's more to be done, to be clear. And as I just said, which answers the translation question, as I just said, is a question of timing in terms of the date for the final negotiations and when the tax was coming into effect. And it doesn't make sense to collect tax from people and then remit them back. So it provides some certainty. And as I just said, negotiations have restarted. We're going to focus on getting the best deal for Canadians. We're making progress. There's more to do, and we'll keep you updated.
The White House says.
So it doesn't seem like he's that hard to, or that masterful of a negotiator after all, huh? Yeah, interesting how that works. It's really funny how at every turn, mainstream media networks, CNN and MSDNC, they all try to either play down Trump's accomplishments, like Abby Phillips did the other day with the news that the economy was booming again, Or they do stuff like this where they side with completely different countries, other countries, or they believe other countries over their own, right? It's wild stuff, man. I think their licenses should be revoked and they should be pulled off of television. And let's actually get some real news networks on our televisions once again, because what they do is just propaganda, like just flat out. It's might rise to the level of treason, but I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling, man. But siding with other countries, I think that's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But that's just me. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. You tired of these W's? I'm not tired of the W's. And I think we got a lot more W's to come. And I expect them to keep rolling in as this summer rolls on into next year. Obviously, the midterms as well. I don't see the Democrats winning. You know, not with the way these W's are rolling in. But what are your thoughts? Talk to me. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.